Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the UMass Lowell University Library Monday live stream for April 10th, 2023. We're almost halfway through April, and I don't know about you, but I am utterly exhausted. So if I'm wiping my nose, I've got tissues because it is cold season with the up and down of the temperature, and I suspect all of you are just as tired and probably allergy miserable, cold miserable as the rest of us. So we're not going to pretend that nobody's sick. Just, give yourself some time, let your body rest. Deliberately give yourself some time and let your body rest. I know this is a really difficult time of year to give yourself that mindfulness opportunity and that rest, but you need it. You can't continue if you don't actually let your body rest. And your faculty, your professors, the staff working on campus, we are all just as tired and allergy prone as you. So everybody, do your best, give yourself some time. And today we're going to talk about our engineering resources and some hacks that we have for you to use within these databases. We're going to look at actually three different types of content. Um, and I want to give fair warning. It's just me. I'm the only one today. Engineering's not my background. So type your questions in the comments. I will answer them as I can. If I can't answer them, I will be completely honest with you about what I can and cannot do. So Ask a Librarian is where the rest of our research and learning team are available. You can email or submit your questions. Later this afternoon, there will be someone on live chat who can help you a little more. My hope is, because this is also very new to me, I'm going to teach you something you might not know only because I discover it and find it interesting. But we're going to take it in three directions. One, we're going to look at some engineering books in novel and EngNet base. We're going to look at Engineering Village slash Compendex as a article search. And we're going to touch, if we have some time, on patent research. And last week we did business with Beverly and Amanda, and it was so much fun, but we didn't get into the patent topic. So this is sort of a week where we're going to touch a little bit on it. And I have some thoughts about it because I have done a little patent research in the day, but also the rest of the research and learning team really, we had a talk about this in our weekly meeting and had some really great points come up that I think will help our engineering students because there's weird language. So again, put your comments or questions in the comments of the live stream. I am going to be watching it. I'm going to check back in every so often and respond to your questions. Uh, but that being said, let's start at the beginning. We're going to start with novel. That's Knovel. That is one of our book databases, but it has some really cool things in it that I don't know if people really look at. So we're going to start at the library webpage. Why do we suggest you start at the library webpage? Because this makes it easy for you to get in. We pay a lot of money for these engineering collections. We want to make sure our community has access to it without a problem. We also don't want your tuition money going to support other people sneaking in. So there is a lot of control that IT does to protect our community. Also, because sometimes people can sneak in, do a few weird things, mess around. I think the computer science and the computer engineering people might understand that better than the rest of us. But this is a security issue and to protect the fact that you are paying for access to all of this. And I'm going to ask you to forgive my roommate and coworker at home, the dog. The windows are open, so he is in full attack mode of every time someone walks by the house, he has got to yell at them. So you will probably hear him barking repeatedly. All right, so let's start at the library webpage. My suggestion is go to databases. Again, never bookmark these links to the databases. They're not coded correctly to get you into them and authenticated. And even though I am at home, what are we doing? It is asking me weird questions for our streaming tool. But um, because these are coded for off-campus access, they do authenticate you. They ask you for your username, your email address, and your password. I've been at home for a few days working. I worked here on Friday and today, so I am already logged in. So when I click on things, it's already going to bring me in, and I've been on my email working all day, so it knows who I am. But if it isn't, it's going to ask you for your email, your password, and then to do that dual authentication. I like to go to our subject listing because this is where all of our specific subjects are. And you might not know the databases that are the best bets for the research topic you're doing. So we do have an engineering one, and it does show that it's suggestion for the best bet. And this is because a librarian has come in and thought about this for you. It has Compendex Engineering Village as our best bet. But everything we have identified as helpful for engineering is right here. And remember, novel, I said, starts with a K. So we go down to the Ks and it's a technical reference. Now, we do give you some basic information. These are primarily engineering books all the way back to 1996. Once you are here, there's a lot that you can do, not just books. There are the property searches, the equations, the unit converter. We have access to all of the things that they are showing you. And you do not have to create any login. You don't have to do anything specific to just search this content, but you can. With all of these tools, they're going to allow you sort of a second layer, not access to any specific content by creating an account. What they allow you to do is save content to their collection so that you can come back, log in, find what you were working on, and pick up where you left off. EBSCOhost, who does a lot of our social science and humanities databases, if you use them in college writing, you might remember they also have login. If you've done business research, you've used ProQuest, which is another large vendor for us. They have their own one. We're going to see it with each of them. But this one is only for novel. It doesn't connect to anything else. And as you can see, they say save time with an account. They are trying to feed you some critical information. They think this is what you want. We don't know. You might actually want all of this. An engineering news feed, what's going on, how long ago this was posted. This is a new feature. You can see this carbon utilization. I've never explored this, but it's telling you if you're going to do research on these topics, these are giving you suggestions and taking you deeper into those topics. These are probably very topical content paths. We're going to use sustainability as our example for most of the research we're doing today, but we're also going to look for standards. And I'm including standards because I know a lot of people do ask us how to find the books about the standards, where those are located. Some we have in the library in print, others we have digitally, and Novel contains quite a few of those standard guides. So they are here for you to search. We're going to search Novel. I'm just going to do sustainability. Sorry, my caps lock was on. And you can see that it's taking a while. It's giving me suggestions, not just the keywords, but the sources, the resources I might want to use. So we're going to click sustainability. And I'm going to give you an idea of what you're looking at. Of course, on your left is your control column. This is how you'll be able to control your results. Just for the keyword sustainability, we have 2,000 plus results. This is way too much for anybody to look through. Your goal is to get this down to a number that you can actually manage because you want to review each of the relevant sources, even if it's just a cursory look, to decide if it's worth your time or not. So taking control on the left column will do a lot of heavy lifting on narrowing your focus. And this is true across our collections. The columns on the left, sometimes on the right of your search results, are where you get to take control. This is not Google. This is not trying to intuit what you want and give you what its data says is the right stuff. This is a database that gives you control. The little features like suggesting a term, suggesting a resource, taking you to topical pages, those are just bells and whistles. The key is for you to know what you want. So, content type. This is critical. Do you need a dictionary or encyclopedia? Those are reference sources, not usually necessary for a cited list on your paper, but might help you wrap your head around definitions, especially if this is new to you. If you're looking at case studies, conference proceedings, chapters of books, books themselves, regulations, tables, all sorts of content is here for you. Concept. This is different subjects of what these are actually about. So if we're looking at sustainable development versus sustainable food, manufacturing, benchmarking process, and you can see all of them and click on multiple ones. So they're not showing you how many of your results are here, but if you're doing toxic and greenhouse gas emissions and maybe energy performance, then you scroll down and apply. It will weed out anything that isn't about these three, and then you can eliminate. So now we're down to 23, which is a really manageable set of results. But let's take out toxic and apply. Now it should go up. Oh, this goes down. So it's adding in each of those results and eliminating duplicates. So it's taken out anything that doesn't mention toxic, which changes the set of results. And all of these are different. So now let's take off energy performance. Let's see those that are just about greenhouse gas emissions, and it's even lower. I'm going to clear this so we can see that big 2000 list again. Now, industry, it was the next one on the list. This is important because you might want to know about sustainability, but in what context? Because so many of these industries deal with it differently. So, telecommunications is going to deal with it differently than mining, oil, and gas versus food and beverage versus construction. Think about the topic you're researching and what industry it might be in. Date and author are always important limits for your search, especially date. When you are talking about something that is a current issue, you might need a very narrow date range. When we talk about currency in general in academia, we tend to focus on the last 10 years. But when you're dealing with cutting edge research, whether it be health related, science, building, and any of this, you might need a narrower time frame. It might need to be the last 5 years. That's a general rule, but thinking about your topic doesn't need to be even narrower than that. Are we talking about something that's happened in the last 2 years? That is really important. And then author is really going to let you see who your leading experts are in these topics. Because they're showing you by number of articles, we can see this CIBSE has 39 books here about this that mention this topic. So this might be the leader talking about the topic in a way that is going to be suitable for you. So this is their guide for sustainability, and it's their second edition, and it's from 2020. So when you want it, you see inside, it shows you your table of contents. You can go right to the chapter you want. If you don't know what you want, but you know some terms you want to find within the book, you can search within this reference book so that you can find where sustainability is specifically mentioned. Over here on your right, there's the bonus features again, the journals and articles that talk about this or mention this book, conferences, standards that might apply in relation to this book. So if you find a book about the topic you want and you need to know about standards, if there are any that connect, this is where Novel will help you connect with it. And our ever important citation. Now, this looks like it is APA style, Definitely not, MLA or Chicago, but this could be something a little more nuanced. A lot of the harder sciences have a version that looks similar to APA, but is their own style. So, not necessarily APA, but it is a citation that you can copy and paste or export. And we talked about, citations on other streams, but this might be new to you as both stream and topic. So, EndNote is the software we support on campus. This is the one you can get from IT. The librarians typically know most of the bells and whistles. RefWorks, BibText, RefMan, ProCite, they're all different ones, but we support EndNote on campus. But a lot of people like Zotero. We suggest EndNote for upper level undergraduates, juniors, seniors who are working on long-term projects. Uh, Graduate students, our faculty, they use EndNote routinely. It's really powerful. But Zotero is really good across the board because it's a plugin that you add to your browser so that when you're looking at these pages, you just click on it, it imports the citation for you. But you click on the style you want, it will download the appropriate file. Sometimes this might be listed as the RIS file. That's the same they a lot of these brands and companies and software pieces use that formatting for the metadata on the other end of it. And if you're a computer engineer, you understand that metadata is an important thing and the file format relates. So, it will download the RIS file, the same for EndNote. When you select that, it's again an RIS file. It knows what to do with it. You can copy and paste this into your paper, give it a quick proofread. If you're looking at specific pages within the book, especially if you're quoting directly from the book, put in the page numbers. So let's say 1 through 12, and it will update that citation to put in your page numbers. Let's see. You can see it's actually telling me only numbers with dashes and commas are allowed. So you can see how it is adding content in. So those are the citations. Again, we're at no people, but if you're on the replay, and my signal might be kind of crummy today, but if you're on the replay or you're live, you can still ask your questions. If you're live, I'm watching for your questions. If you're on the replay, we do check our videos periodically so that we see any comments and can respond to you. But as always, Ask a Librarian is your best bet for quick and almost not instantaneous, but there's generally someone watching the submitted questions this time of day on the email side of it. All right, what else is in Novel? Because that's the basic. So property search. Uh, this we all have access to. Material property search, the novel data analytics, thus the chemical material search. You can search what you're looking for and see what comes back. This is your browsing feature. So I'm going to select food and nutrition. I understand food better than other things, but nutrient loss gets moved in, and it's a very interactive interface because now it's giving me loss of vitamins and canned foods, and this is the material search at work. This is a table for you to look at. So you can see here is your unit converter. This was on the left side also. When you are converting different types of units over different types of values, you can see how they convert. You have your input, your output, it'll convert, it'll flip. It's really an awesome feature. And then your equations is another feature that they have available to you so that you can work out some of the equations right here with their tools. And it has your own calculations. Again, you would need an actual account with them to save your calculations and equations. But as you click on the ones you want, it'll tell you what's available. So here's boiling point of water at certain altitudes. And it comes with the worksheet that you can open and interact with. So you can see here, you actually can manipulate this, make it bigger, share it with people this way, etc. So there's a lot here for you to play with. And here are more tools for you to add to your resources. Are there any questions anybody has about novel? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to our next tool, and I'm going to close out some of these windows because it does open a new window. I can go all the way back to the beginning. Now I want to look at the ease. I'm going to scroll back up. Now I was going to go straight to Engineering Village, but I think EngNetBase, ENG because it also searches for books, we're going to go here instead. I want to make something clear. You do not have to do a trial request or download collection instructions. I'm going to be looking into why this is showing up, but I suspect it's something we're going to have a hard time getting rid of. You have access to everything. You do not have to log in. You do not have to click any of these. You just scroll down. We have 7,603 books from them. You can see I've been in here in the last few days. I looked for a book about sustainability to make sure I knew what was coming. So what's here? One, you can search, and we are going to search in this collection. You can change this to all ebook collections, T and F. That's Taylor and Francis, the company that makes it for us. I wouldn't do it. That's only going to make you unhappy because you're going to be including things in your search that we don't have access to. And while interlibrary loan is amazing and does amazing things very quickly sometimes, we can't get ebooks for you. We can only get printed books. So it gets really frustrating when you expand that search to things we don't have access to. Stick to this collection. This way you can get access to the books we have. Don't worry about request a trial, librarian resources. You can browse, you can look at subjects or products. You really don't want to. The search box here and then this list down here of the search results is what's important. So let's do a couple glances here just so you can see what they're presenting you with. Availability, include forthcoming. They will let you see books that are about to come out. You may not get access to them until they come out, but they will include those in the search results. So you'll know what books they have coming out. You can see by publication date, their most recent releases, 68, 55 in the last month, 107 in 3 months, older than a year, the vast majority of the collection. You can narrow to a specific date range. Again, you can be very current with this. So let's do sustainability. You can see it is suggesting books, but it's not really forcing anything on me. It's only going to bring back the books that mention the word I've included in my search. Do I want more? Yes. I use the word and. Let's do sustainability and food and see what comes back, if anything. We have 301. Now it's showing you the books, but it's going to narrow down specifically to the chapters. So there are 3,314, not just 301 in the chapters. You can see here on the left, now we have different options. Include forthcoming, that'll expand our search. But if we limit to subjects, we narrow. These are what the books are about. You notice engineering and technology, bioscience, food science, economics. These are not about sustainability when we're dealing with the subject. They might be about sustainability because they might have the title that says sustainability, but within the subject of bioscience, engineering and technology, etc. Ebook collection, don't worry about that. These are just the collections that we have access to. But here's EngNetBase, your recent your imprint. If you're looking for something from a specific publisher, and you might not need to know, this might not be important, but you can. If you're looking for things by specific authors, after you read enough of these books and chapters and articles, you're going to start seeing a lot of the same names over and over. These are your experts in the field. The more they've published on a topic, the more likely they are to be an expert. So we have here just 4 people who seem to be 3 or 2, which means there's probably a lot of authors with just 1. Um, but this is across multiple subjects. So if we narrow down to these 58 about food science and technology, we probably will get a very different list of those authors. And you can see now we have this person who has 4. And this could possibly be in some sort of alphabetical order, but this is the list that they're giving us, 4, 3, 2, 2. So that you can see who this might be our expert on food and food sustainability within food science and technology. And we can look at those 4 books and 20 chapters that this person has written. All right, let's look at one of these books. Now, you can read the whole book right here, read online. You don't have to download this. You don't have to print anything. You can work within the book right here. Again, you probably want to set up your own account so that none of this is lost. But when you hover, it'll start letting you flip through the book just like you were if you were sitting at in a chair at a table doing it yourself. You can search within the book. You can see your table of contents. If you have done anything highlighting, this is where they want you to log in or create an account so that your markings are saved. Same for bookmarking sections of the book. If you want to print, now here's my suggestion for printing. Don't print the whole book, but find a section that you want. Let's say you want something in farming systems innovations. You like this paragraph right here. You can see the little highlight options come up, create note, export reference. Yes, export reference. They want you to sign in for that. We'll get to the citation issue. But if you have this, and this is what you want to print, you just print from the page you want. So this is page 5, I think, to page 5, and it will allow you to print just that section. So you don't have to print all 433 pages. All right, let's X out of this and go back to this page. So we have full access to this. Here's our abstract. You can download the chapters, but where is the citation? Yeah, it's not always clear, but it's here, right in sort of the end of this publishing information. It says citation. It's a one that you just copy paste. If you wanted to do the more extensive citation, you do want to create the account with them so that you can do all of that. But this is a copy paste. And again, if you are doing specific pages within a chapter, you want to make sure that you add those accurately. Not all of our vendors make it super easy to cite their sources, but most do, the very least, this little citation feature here. All right, so are there any questions? And have we been seeing EngNet Base this entire time? We have not been, have we? I'm now looking at my list and it's only showing, hold on. I think it hasn't been showing you anything, which is frustrating for everybody. There we go. All right, I'm going to go very briefly through this again because that was just not fun at all for the people who were watching. So my apologies. Usually it's not a problem. Nope. Now the whole thing is decided. It's going to have a meltdown. We're going to start again. So when I mentioned earlier, you don't have to do any of this here, the request a trial for collection, download collection details, request a trial, any of that. You don't have to do any of that. This is the search here. These are your search results. Here is that availability, the forthcoming, the date. Your search box is up here at the top. Let's do sustainability because I'm going to do a quick look halfway through. And I've just realized you couldn't see anything I was doing. All right, so we're just going to click this first book now because I want you to see the citation. At the very least, the citation feature. It is right here on this section of the page. Whoop, everything got pushed down. Here it is. Citation. This is just a copy paste. This is not a download one. Here is the read online. Your search within feature, your table of contents, your printing feature. Again, you can print specific pages so that you don't download and print the entire book. But you can download all of the book. And they do suggest related books, but here are the downloading sections for each chapter. Then this one you have full access to. And when I said only worry about the collection you're in, we'll go back to our search. It knows the collection is EngineNet base. But keep this at this collection so that you only get the books that we have access to. And then quickly, since I suspect you did not see novel at all, here is novel again. Here's the engineering news feed I mentioned. Let's do, and this is a book collection. Sustainability, it does suggest. Now, you notice here it says include synonyms, and I didn't mention this last time. This is where you have to choose. It will give up, it will take a little control away from you. You might not know all the synonyms for sustainability, but if you include synonyms, it identifies synonyms that you might find valuable. So again, here on the left is your control bar with your limits so that you can get the books versus the chapters. We're just going to look quickly at a book. It will connect you to journals, conferences, standards, anything that it thinks might be relevant to you. And then you can search within this. Here is your citation feature, the download option. You can include page numbers here. They do make it a little easier than the other company does. Yes. And then if you want to read the book, you just click on what you want to read and it will take you in to read it. Over here on this left gray bar is where the equations, the property search, the unit converter, and more are all located. So here's the book. You can do multiple things from here, but you want to create an account if you want to interact with the book itself. Okay, sorry about that. Questions? If I missed something that was important, but you hadn't gotten to see it, just put your questions in the comments and I will come back to it. All right, this time you'll see it live. We're going to go into Engineering Village /Compendex. What's the difference? There's no difference. They rebranded. Now it has a new name. Everybody refers to both of them. That's what I've learned over the last few years is everybody refers to them, but it is officially Engineering Village. So let's talk about this company, Elsevier. We could go on and on and on about them, but they are the leading publisher within sciences. You are lucky to get access. Everybody who gets access to Elsevier is lucky, because this is where a lot of the leading journals are, but very few people have access to it, especially outside of universities because of the expense. So there's going to be a lot of valuable content here, and use it. Use it. Use Elsevier, use Engineering Village. Do not shy away from this one. Get your money's worth. That's my like message to everybody. So what's here? This is a very basic search page. You do have auto suggest. We're going to talk about auto suggest. Don't worry. You can add search fields. You can reset the form. There's other things here, but we're going to do all fields, sustainability, and search. Again, you can create an account with them and get search alerts and see your search history and save it all. If you are doing long-term projects over the course of the entire school year or for a semester or multiple years, utilize this so you can get back to the articles and the searches you've been looking for. Not just the articles themselves, but the actual search. Run it again. The next month, something new might be published. And if you're working on a thesis or dissertation, you're going to come back to this topic over and over. All right. So we have 784,324 records that mention sustainability found in, yes, I know it says Compendix here, even though it is Engineering Village. They are not making this change easy for anybody. But we go as far back as 1884. Somebody in 1884 used the word sustainability within these publications. That's kind of awesome because we think of it as a modern topic, but maybe not. All right, here's our toolbar on the left side again. Most of these companies do put it on the left side for us. What is this open access? Okay. Publishing is expensive. Being published should not be. You should not be expected to pay. But open access is this new thing that's happening across the academic publishing industry. The federal government especially wants the world to be able to access the research being done with federal money. This is in the US specifically, but other countries are doing the same thing across the world. If you get funding from specific resource for specific organizations or federal agencies or companies, sometimes, yes, that's another conversation for another day. When you get funding from specific agencies and organizations, you're often getting the federal taxpayers' money, the money you pay in taxes if you live in the US. So they want you, the taxpayer, not you, the researcher, but you, the taxpayer, to have easy access to see what you're funding. This is the root of the open access drive. We are providing people with open access, but because this is an expensive tool and this will cost them money because Elsevier, Engineering Village, makes money on subscriptions, they make people pay a fee. So we have this balance we're trying to strike where we want researchers to make this information publicly available. We want these publishers to do that too, but they have different levels of open access, specifically from this company. And a lot of companies do this. This means very many times the author has paid extra money to get this open access status. So gold, hybrid gold, bronze, green, it means something to the company more than it means to you. But the open access articles are the ones anybody in the world can access. There is more here than those open access, but your assignment or your bigger project might want you to make sure you get open access articles so that people can go and read the research you did. If you've done a literature review, if you've read articles, you know this is part of the process. The reason we cite, the reason we look to others um, for validation of the ideas we're presenting by citing the research that they have done is so that we create that cookie crumb trail to justify our reasoning and our expectations and why this is valuable research that had to be done. So making sure that other people can follow that cookie crumb trail is part of what open access does for us. So you might be told to get open access. If so, click this link. It'll get it for you. We have our document types. There's a lot more to talk about with open access, and I probably brushed over some very critical points, but we're in the last 20 minutes of an hour-long live stream. We can have fun another day. We have our authors. One of the best things about scholarly peer-reviewed research is that you can see where people are working, who they are affiliated with for their research. And we can see how very international this group is. A lot in China, somebody in Arizona. I don't know this university. I'm assuming it's not in the US, but there's a lot here. And the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences is doing a lot of publishing about sustainability in this journal or in these collections of journals. Controlled vocabulary. These are the subjects that we've seen in other databases. Are we looking at climate change? Energy efficiency, energy utilization, decision making, sustainable development. I'm going to click climate change just because I think that's fun. But there's other things here, classification codes, country region. Typically, the country region of the research, but sometimes some make it the country region of the author. I suspect this is sort of a combination of both since there's so much being published from Chinese universities and researchers. Their research is focused on China. Language, year. So that you can limit to specific years. Source title. This is the journal title or the if it's a conference proceedings, which are often peer-reviewed, researched publications, those will be listed here. Publisher, the company that publishes the journal. Funding sponsor. Remember, open access is about who's funding and what their requirements are. So do you want to limit to a specific funder? If you're doing European research, the European Commission, National Science Foundation, the NSF, is US. So you can limit to these things. Status. Remember how when we were looking at EngNet Base, it had forthcoming titles. A lot of times things get published early because you've been given early access to something. It's called pre-publishing access. It might still get edited. There might be changes. There might be big changes, especially in science. So some things are considered here active versus inactive. It's a nuance to them. You don't have to do any of that. But I clicked a couple boxes. We're going to limit to, you can exclude specific funders or specific authors or specific subject terms instead of include. So now I'm down to 667. I can see how it's adapted my search. This is all search strategy. It's nesting within things. So sustainability, WNL. I don't know what WNL means, but it means something to this search engine. And I can exit out. Climate change, that was a subject. So these are probably codes for what fields within the metadata in the background to look in. But I can X out of all of this. And then here are my search alerts and save search and share search and syndication feed so that I can get back to them. You can see it tells me that I have full text to these. Cited in Scopus, we will have a conversation about that another day. It is really interesting we can have a whole conversation about impact of the research, and that is how often other people cite it. So let's just look at this one. It says full text. It also says that you can check our link source for full text availability. If we have the full text, you should not have to worry about this. And this looks like it is a conference abstract. I saw the letter CA. I just, because I've been working in libraries as long as I have, I just know. So it's taking me to the article. And this is a completely different company. This is IEEE. They are not Elsevier. They are different. They are one of the leading engineering publishing companies, if not the leading publishing company for engineering. So this doesn't just limit us to what's inside Engineering Village. This connects us beyond that. But here's the article for us. And they have the citation information here. So always look. We have plain text, bib text, RIS, and note, Zotero, both like RIS. So you're always good with them. And copy. Again, I'm not 100% sure what style it's using. My best guess is APA, though it could be different. Yeah, I don't think it is APA because here's the date, and that's usually up here. So it could be the engineering style. I think that's now I don't even remember what that style's name is, but always try to be consistent with your styles. But back here on Engineering Village, and I think I think I'm just going back to IEEE. They're not going to take me to one of their pages. Oh, yes. Here we go. Nope. Yes. It's making up its mind. Here we go. Okay. This is the Engineering Village version of the information about the article. If you go to the full text, it's still going to take you out to IEEE, but they have their own site option here. Save to RefWorks, EndNote, the RIS, which will work with Zotero. They're not giving you that easy copy and paste one. So you can get it from two places. They will give you the abstract so you can read about the article before you decide if you want to read the entire article. They will give you related documents. Their metrics, which is that impact, the conference information, the funding details. They'll tell you the number, which is generally the organization's identifier, their acronym, and the sponsor. The funding text, these are going to be very important, especially when you're dealing with something controversial. And then when this was published, what language it's in, again, some of the basic details so that you know what you're going to be reading. And then the references. Sometimes you'll be able to click on these and get to them, but in this case, it doesn't look like any of these are linkable. Different companies do it differently. All right, let's go back to our results because there's one more thing, and I don't think we're going to get to patents today, but I will show you our patent guide. Maybe it's not even giving me the list now. So it has this feature. Here we go. Auto stemming. So as I remember, I mentioned that these are not tools that will do a lot of thinking for you, but there are ways for you to get them to do a little more thinking. And auto stemming is one of them. So imagine that you're doing some research and you want to expand beyond sustainability, but you really don't know those synonyms. And you know there's more, you just can't think of it. Auto stemming is what it's doing when it thinks for you. It's because it says here, turn auto stemming off. It is automatically on. He's not happy about auto stemming. So it My apologies again. So what it does with auto stemming, I'm getting the death glare of anybody who has a dog knows that death glare when you have told them to do something that they don't want to do and they have no choice but to listen to you because you're in charge. Auto stemming will use its knowledge, probably AI, to search any variation of sustainability. It might take off the ly and just do sustain. It'll do sustainable. It'll add anything to the beginning that it thinks might be relevant. So any prefix, any suffix that might get added to a word that will expand the search to bring you back more that might be related. With a word like sustainability, that might be great, or it could be too much. There are some words that it's really a hot mess to even do that for. So, depending on the field you're in this case, it might not be that bad, but if you turn off auto stemming, so here we have 667 with the auto stemming on. If I turn it off, and then it doesn't update anything. Um, there we go. I had to click the little magnifying glass. So it's cut my results in half by turning off the auto stemming. And that's important to recognize that it is changing your search and it is doing this database, this company specifically is doing something. It is giving you the option to turn it off. I would do both. I would see what you get with it on. I would see what you get with it off. Here's the thing about research, this side of the research, not the experiments and the fun part. When you're doing a literature review, it feels difficult because it can be time consuming. And it's not really difficult. You're good at this. You know how to search. You've been searching probably most of your life at this point, if not all of it. You know how to type words in. You know how Google brings back relevant information first. You know what you're looking at when you see this set of results. Great. But now it's time to engage your curiosity. Your what do you want to know about this? What happens if you make this little change here? If I take off sustainability and the ility and just do sustainable, how does that change my results? What might I get that I don't get before? It's a lot of thinking and it can be exhausting because it's a lot of trial and error to get what you want. And then there is the frustration of not getting everything. Not everything is in our search engines, our databases. It's just the nature of the research process. You want to start reading. If you are exhausted from this search process, start reading. Start learning about it. Find the other words that other authors are using in their articles to explain something. Use those terms in new searches, but give your brain a break. Uh, there's a lot of there's a lot. I mean, we talk a lot about mindfulness across academia and giving yourself time and resting. And I mentioned it at the beginning because I'm fighting allergies and possibly a cold, and everybody's getting tired. But your brain needs to sort of be on and off. It needs some off time, and downtime for everybody looks different. Some people can just sit and check out and relax. Others still need to engage their brain. And then other people have different way. They need to do a craft or they need to go for a walk. That's your time to process, to give your brain a break. And for those of you who need that brain engagement in a different way, like the learning part, the reading part, use this opportunity to give your brain a break by getting some more search terms, getting some more sources, looking at the works cited list for the articles you like, and seeing who they reference, who are the prominent authors, what are the articles that seem to keep coming up over and over. If they make an interesting point, check who they're citing and go get that article. And we'll help you do that with interlibrary loan. If we don't have access, and you can find out if we have access, see who they reference and look to see if we have that journal from that date range in our journal by title search. This way you keep going, but you give your brain a break from the screen because this screen can be exhausting. Last thing, we're going to talk about patents Only very briefly. We do have this guide, libguides, uml.edu/patents, where we have access to some different patent content. You can get it in Engineering Village. You can get patents in IEEE. You can get them in Nexus Uni. But the patent office, the USPTO, that's our federal patent office, does have its own search by patent search or publication number search. This is the warning one of our librarians said about the patents. And this is really important. These are competitive industries. There's something that she referred to as sort of patentese, which is a language in patents sort of used to disguise what's really being patented and how it might be used so that competitors don't try to uh, steal it from under them. And I think in engineering circles, there are some pretty infamous stories about patents being stolen from other inventors. I think all of our electricity usage is based on patent theft. That's from what I recall of my readings in life and not being an engineer. So these are big deals. So you might need someone to help you translate. And we're happy, if not to help you translate, to find a way to get that translated. So ask us when you're having a hard time. We might have the answer. We don't know. We don't know till we get asked the questions. But patent searching, especially if you're working on something like difference makers where you're trying to invent something, is a good place to get some research done. And citing patents, not always difficult. I we do have some sources. I just Googled, what did I Google? Because I Googled citing patents APA. So this is the APA specifics. And a lot of universities have information just like we do on LibGuides. But here's how to cite a patent in APA style with some examples. So unfortunately, most of these will not make it easy for you to just copy and paste or download the patent, but here is the inventor name, the initials, year, title, country, region, patent number, issuing body, web address. And you can see an example here for your references list and then your in-text citation if you were to quote from it. So it is all here for you to use. This is your last chance for any questions in the live stream because we are at the last 2 minutes and I have a handful of announcements. So if you have a question, put it in the text. If you're watching this over, put it in the comments. I do go and check periodically. Do not worry. We will get you your answer. But Ask a Librarian is your best bet every time when you need Ask a Librarian. Obviously, our red tab here will connect you if someone is on the live chat, let you search our FAQs or submit your question online. Live chat, really popular with our off-campus and online only students because we do it in the evenings on Monday through Thursday and then 1 to 3 on Fridays. But our in-person support is 12:30 to 4:30 Monday through Wednesdays on campus at each library. It's both Leiden and O'Leary for in-person help. But you can always click Ask a Librarian to get right to our main page where you can see contact information, actually look at the FAQs to see what's there, and then submit your questions if necessary. We do encourage you to submit your questions to us. We are very often watching the chats and the emails come in so that we can answer you promptly. And because we're all over the world, like I'm at home today, I'm not in the library to give you help. So if I'm on the shift to watch the chat, I could, or to watch the emails, I can actually respond to you. But someone's there watching most of the day. So do not hesitate to use it. There is no live stream next Monday because it's Patriots Day. It's Marathon Monday in Boston, which means the entire state gets the day off. It's also the first day of spring break. So if you are a parent, good luck with your child. I know you're going to have a very exhausting week, but you'll have one day off at school on your end, at least, and you can catch up and rest your brains and maybe rest your bodies at the same time. So we will not have a live stream. When we get back the next Monday, I think the 24th, we are doing primary sources. We will be talking about what a primary source looks like in engineering, but across different disciplines. And we will probably be joined by Tony Sampis from the Center for Lowell History, who will talk to us about archives as primary sources and some of our Center for Lowell History's collection. So I hope to see you then. Looking forward to any comments after the fact, and have a great week and Patriots Day.